Hey everyone, how's it going in quarantine? As you can see, I'm okay. Hold on, I'm putting my dog under the blanket. Lay down. Good girl. Okay, so I just finished another show that's on Netflix. It's 16 episodes, not 18, whoops. 16 episodes. It is, I believe, a Korean drama called Cinderella and the Four Knights. Like, I kind of get what it's called that, but at the same time, I kind of don't, because I went into thinking, oh, it's like a harem or something. No. No, it's not. It's pretty fucking obvious who she's gonna end up with. And so basically, it's about this girl. I want to say their names because that's usually what I do. Is I say, "Hey, it's about this person." Their names, but like, I don't know Korean. I can't pronounce the names for shit. I think it's Hawon. I think it's like, at least the subtitles that they spell it is HA, like that little, what do they call that little line, and then WON. Hawon. Wait, is it even spelled that way? Do I just remember it that way? Why? Like, I literally just finished it. Like, was it this morning or yesterday? I don't fucking know what's going on. Anyway, it's Korean. It's on Netflix. It's 16 episodes. You got subtitles, so there, you're fine. Anyway, so it's about her and her eventually meeting, like, a bunch of people. Nick, get out of... Would you stop looking for stuff, ma'am? Anyway. So yeah, she's I suppose she's like graduating high school soon. I think is when we first meet her, and she has her dad, her mom died, and she has a stepmom and stepsister who are a holes, putting it nicely. But then again, it's called Cinderella. When anyone who's ever seen any iteration of Cinderella, we all know about the stepsisters and the stepmom being bitches, and not a good way. And so she kind of has to do everything like cooking, cleaning, going and getting stuff if they need anything. Just basically what you'd assume Cinderella would do, just pretty much whatever the fuck they tell her to do. And she's working like 10 jobs, part time jobs, I think, in this series at the time. Hey, at the start, get out of stuff. Go lay down. Go lay down. Nay. Nay, nay. Go lay down. That. You hear me, ma'am. What are you talking about, Mom? I don't hear nothing. What'd you say? There. Oh, now we're gonna snort in the dark, right? If you've seen any of my videos, you know that my dog drives me nuts, and she'll be dead asleep as soon as I hit the record button on a video. Immediately, she's up. Then she has this, like, you know when a dog sniffs under the door and they kind of do, like, that snorting, sniffing thing, which is annoying, but it's it's worse because, of course, she has a cough that just won't go away, so, of course, that's aggravating it. She's brilliant. I love her, but she's dumb. She's a good girl, but a dumb girl. I say that endearingly. So you often hear her either coughing or me like, hey, go lay down. Hey, we're in the end video, so I apologize. Just expect it. It's pretty much like in every video. If it's not, it's a surprise. It's a surprise if it's not in every video. There you go. Anyway. So yeah, she ends up, she's working a bunch of part-time jobs, and she needs money to pay off. Well, she's been saving it to go to college because, like, her stepmom, like, her dad's always away because he's like a truck driver, and so he's always like away for work because that's what he drives the truck around, delivering stuff. I'm assuming, unless it's just to drive the fucking truck. I don't know. Anyway, and her mom like takes care of her own kid. Her stepmom and her stepsister like are just total assholes to her. Like, we actually get to see, for instance, like, she's about to get off work at her part-time job, and You know how some food expires, they'll toss away, like right before the expiration date? So she eats that. And then we get home and they zoom in on a bucket of fried chicken that the stepmom and stepsister are eating. So that kind of just puts into perspective that, like, yeah, they don't really give a shit. They make her do everything. They quite clearly don't provide for her, so she's gotta take care of herself. She even sleeps on the fucking balcony, we find out. That's that. And they, throughout the entire show, they constantly just do bad things to her or say bad things about her. And even put her in danger a couple of times. Like, spoiler, she ends up getting kicked out of the house. So, of course, she has nowhere to go at the time. Luckily, she manages to find a job, which is a big part of the show, at this rich person's house. And what happens was she's, like, on a pizza delivery job or something. And she goes to, like, I'm assuming some kind of, like, nightclub bar type of thing. And these guys are just being assholes. They're not paying for anything. You know how you get, like, on those, like, sometimes you could get, like, a special type of service type thing where, like, hey, no one's home, could you please, leave at the front of the entrance, or, like, stuff like that. Like, that's what it's for, she actually says. But they're, like, send your prettiest delivery girl, and they're making fun of her. She's like, it's so-and-so. It's so-and-so. Like, hey, it's however much money. Like, she's trying to be nice, and they just keep fucking with her. And eventually she gets sick of it and throws this fucker, like, 10 feet. And it's like, money? And he's like, okay, I'm sorry. And one of the rich, he's like an older dude, so one of the rich, I'll say rich grandpa, has like 3 grandsons, and one of them happens to see this. And he decides, I'm gonna take her to my grandpa's wedding. And it's not that he likes her. It's that, sorry, it's my dad closing the door. I don't know why, like, I'm not doing anything wrong, but I'm instantly like, I need to talk in private so no one can understand what I'm saying. They can't know I'm talking on the video. Like, I don't know why. Like, I'm very much like, when you, like, you're staying up too late and you, like, pull the covers over your head and you keep quiet so they don't hear you and know you're awake. Like, it kind of feels like that to me somehow. I'm just like, nobody can know. They probably just like, okay then, whatever. Like, and my dad talks to himself when he's doing things sometimes, so I definitely get that from him, and I do it all the fucking time anyway, and they know I fucking do it all the time, so I don't know why that would be a problem. Like, I don't mean like oh, he needs to go get help, but like just how you, like, you're doing something, you're like, oh, son of a bitch, I dropped this, and god damn it, why is this, like, just like that kind of shit all the time. So I'm worse. Like, I actually talk to myself, but like I don't think I'm crazy level yet. Like, where I'm legitimately, like, I have mental problems I need to go to. I don't think I'm there, but I think I'm worse than my dad, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just trying to describe things. I'm not trying to, like, belittle or insult or anything like that. I'm just, like, I'm trying to put the sentence in my head. Anyway. So, yeah, she's in need of money because her dad hasn't been paying for, like, her, I don't know what they call it, but it's like where like a public place where, like, urns are kept and that kind of thing, like people's ashes, and you go to visit it. So it's one of those places, and, like, you have, like, a little spot reserved for, like, your family, whoever the fuck died. And he hasn't been paying, so she has to give up her tuition money. I think she saved up 400, what was it, 4 million or something? I don't know. And then she has to pay another 1 million, so she, this rich dude sees her, what's his name, Human, I think? Hyun, little dash, and then, Min? Human, I think. And he's obviously a playboy. Like, you'd think we would be set, or should be set up with him, like, oh, he's the love interest. No, he never feels like the love interest because he's fucking not. It's obvious he likes another girl. And, so the reason he hires her to go to his, like, grandpa's wedding, is like his 5th wedding, is because, like, they all have a bad relationship with each other, the 3 of them, the 3 grandsons. They don't like each other, or they don't want to deal with each other. Like, 2 of them really fight, and then the other one's just kind of like, peace out, bro. I'm dealing with this. So So Human's the playboy, and he's the like or who's made to believe like who he's definitely gonna be the heir of this company. And then we have Jisoo, who's the actual love interest, and he's very much the like, I don't want to be here. He just kind of finds out that he's related to this guy and is forced to be there. He doesn't want to be there. And then you have Sobu, who is again, I'm butchering these names, I apologize to anyone who speaks Korean. And he's a singer, and he's kind of the nicest of them all. And he does end up kind of getting a crush on her, but obviously he never tells her. It's unrequited. And he's kind of the one that's like, probably just doesn't want to deal with it. So he like, they're not, so it's really just like Hyomin and Jisoo who do not like each other. And they're known for like never being in the same place with each other. All of them, they don't want to deal with each other. They're notorious. They don't like each other. Like, they're a very famous, very wealthy family. Everyone knows they don't want nothing to do with each other. And so Human, who's the playboy, takes her because one, I guess he wants to piss off his grandpa because he has to go or whatever. I don't fucking remember because he doesn't like him. And then also the girl he likes, he's really mean to, like really fucking mean to. Like, that makes sense why he's trying to push her away later, but like at the same time, like, he doesn't have to be that much of a dick, but he is. So he's kind of taking her as like a countermeasure for those two reasons, to like piss off grandpa, and to like push the other girl he actually likes away. So he takes her, and he kind of makes up the story like, hey, my grandpa's gonna die, and you know, I'll pay you for your time, just, you know, come to the wedding with me for like 3 hours. And she's like, okay, first she's not okay with it, but then she's like, you know, I do need that other like million whatever to pay off the thing. I do need the money, and you know, this guy seems to really need help. So okay, I'll do it. And then he goes there and he dresses her in a fucking wedding dress. We don't really realize it's a wedding dress at first, and then he kind of like does the march with her, and then he's like, so I'm getting married, and like she doesn't know any of this. So she gets pissed off and makes him apologize to Grandpa, and Grandpa's like, I like this chick. And decides to, because like the butler had just left, like they had taped his ass to the ceiling. I don't know how they did that, but they did. And he's like, you know what? I bet you this chick can whip these assholes into shape. Can whip my grandkids into shape. So he hires her, and he gives her like these missions to complete. Like, I think the first one is get them to eat a meal together. And then, you know, that kind of thing. And she gets like those little missions, and whenever she completes a mission, she gets like a bonus. And she's supposed to stay there for like 3 months, I think. And she like lives there, and basically she has a room, she has food, and it's kind of just her job to complete these missions. And at first, they're of course reluctant, but over time they do change, and there is a happy ending to this show. And yes, I cried a lot, okay? Like, a lot. So yes, there is some cheesiness, there is some, like, this bitch cannot catch a break. Like, anytime anything happens to her, something bad happens to her. But I really liked it. Sorry, it's like the Netflix when it goes to, like, this, sleep mode, and it starts, like, doing, like, the still moving pictures of the shit they have on there. So I looked up, because I saw, like, some, a picture I thought was really cool looking, and I was like, oh, okay, that's in my list already. Because I definitely am drawn to anything that looks like a Korean or foreign drama now. So, of course, when I see, like, foreign faces, I'm like, what? Like, I already had it, but I have a preference, okay? I didn't mean to go into foreign dramas. I kind of watched one, and then I spiraled into more. Like, that's kind of how this Korean or foreign drama thing starts, is you watch one and then just you're watching all of it. It's the same thing with anime or reading like a good book. You get trapped into the series, or you find a K-pop band and then you have 20,000 ones you like later. Like, it's one of those type of things. But it's just a short show. I think about an hour each episode. It's another one of those shows that's like 40 something minutes to an hour per episode, 60 episodes. It definitely made me cry. I really liked it. I think my favorite side character, I cannot pronounce her name for the life of me, so I'm not even going to try. but she works at the. I'm not sure what she works at exactly. Like she usually is in the kitchen, but she's like this older lady, and she's kind of in the well, not super old, like late 30s, maybe early 40s, age wise. I'm just guessing. And her name starts with a B, and she's, like I said, she's in the kitchen a lot. So I'm assuming she's like maybe some kind of like kitchen staff, but it's quite clear she's probably like the head kitchen staff or something along those lines. And there's plenty of moments where her and our main girl are kind of just talking, or she'll be doing something and talking to herself and give some information to like the cousins, who just kind of walk into the room, hear her talking to herself, and hear things. Like, oh, Miss Hillens did this and this for them, and oh, they're so fucking ungrateful. They're just like, oh, so she did this for us, okay. So I don't know. But I really liked it. Now, another common thing with these kinds of shows is they'll have one or two songs and they'll play them to death. Whenever there's like a sad moment, there's the sad song that comes on. Whenever there's like a happy moment, the happy song comes on. Like it does that too. I don't know why it's called Cinderella and the Four Knights. Like I kind of get it because there's four guys, but like it kind of led me to believe that there's gonna be like four romantic interests. Four romantic interests. But no, it's clearly there's just one, and like that guy that likes her, obviously I'm gonna fucking tell her. And I don't know. I there's some things that irritate me. Like two things that irritated me is the girl that Hyeomin likes. It's obvious that Jisoo likes her at first too, and he's liked her for like years, probably since the first time he got to the house is when he moved in. He kind of like met her, and he's kind of liked her since. But it's very clear she liked Hyeomin, and Hyeomin knows she likes him, and Jisoo's obvious that she likes him. And of course he's being mean to her, so he's fucking sick of like that, and he doesn't like them because they're all kind of like either mean or very dismissive of him. So he's kind of I don't know what to call him. But in a lot of like they have this character in a lot of anime where they actually have a heart of gold, but they're kind of assholes at first. I mean, granted, it's because he thinks Hawan, our main character, is like doing all this for money, and he doesn't like her at first, so he's kind of a dick. But he does get like he does help her out. Sometimes he'll still be kind of an asshole, but he has like the asshole with the heart of gold is kind of like the stereotype he is. So I don't know, like, I have an itchy nose like just right here, and it's driving me nuts. And yeah, I really ended up liking the ending. Like it was kind of I guess I'll go into spoiler territory. We do get a happy ending. The dad finds out how the stepmom and stepsister have been treating her, and they get yelled at. And he finds out that the reason I forgot to mention a huge part. He's been very dismissive, kind of like after his wife dies. Holland's mom, I mean, girl's mom, dies, and she dies at this dude's apartment. So he assumed that she was cheating on him, and that maybe she's not actually his kid. So he's like, she'll send him a bunch of like texts like, "Hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I missed you, Dad." Kind of what you'd expect. And he wouldn't reply to her. And in one episode, he kind of it's kind of like after she figures out that he takes the urn or whatever, and like takes that thing and packs up the mom's stuff. And there's kind of like this big family, like they're eating or day dinner. Our main girl comes in and she's like, "What the fuck? Like, why would you take mom out of this place? Like, why weren't you paying any of the payments? Like, what the fuck?" And it gets into this thing, and she kind of breaks down. She's like, these people haven't done anything. The stepsister, stepmom, they haven't done anything for me, and like she's finally kind of just lost it. And he smacks her, says, "I never should have raised someone else's kid," and she gets kicked out of the house. Of course, later on we find out that no, he is in fact his kid. The mom did not cheat on him. What happened is this guy that he thought was like her actual dad was his friend, and he worked as an instructor at this dojo with her mom. Like, they were both instructors. And what happened was is he was in debt, so he sold the dojo without telling the mom, or our main girl's mom. So she went to the apartment to talk to him, and then a fire broke out, and she didn't make it. She died. That's how she dies. And all those years, he'd assumed there was something between them, but it clearly fucking wasn't. And this guy shows up later after Bitchy Bomb McGee, because, like, he was, our main girl's dad was looking for this dude, most likely to be like, hey, you know, your kid's here. Because quite clearly, you know, he obviously must feel guilty for what he just, you know, did to his kid, but at the same time, like, it's not my kid, I need, you give her something, because clearly she needs a home to go to, because she's not living there anymore. She was kicked out. She hasn't been back since. And, the mom kind of finds out, because he's like, hey, can you get my bag? He gets home, he's like, hey, can you please get my bag from the truck? I'm really tired, I'm gonna go to sleep. And so he does, and she does, and she finds, like, a missing person's poster, and she kind of connects that, oh, this is probably, like, our main girl's real dad, and she doesn't like her, she wants her out of the house for good, and she doesn't want anything to do with her. And so she goes to the guy, to find the guy. She finds him, tells him that, like, hey, she's, you know, you're a kid, I don't want anything to do with her, and insinuates that, oh, she's living at this rich person's house. So, of course, he goes to try and extort her for money by saying, hey, I'm your real dad, but, you know, I can't be with you because of, you know, all these debt problems, and that's why I couldn't be with you, and, you know, your mom and I just kind of happened, and you're just, like, wanting to punch this motherfucker in the face. But, like, the thing is, if he had just gone to our main girl and told the truth, like, hey, this is what happened, I know it's kind of rude to come out of fucking nowhere, but could you please help me? Like, that would be so much better, and he'd be more likely to have gotten money from them. Because she's not getting paid a fuck ton. She's getting paid enough to get, to go to, they're paying her enough money to go to the school and maybe even travel, or maybe even go to school abroad, I think. We don't know the exact amount she makes. I don't think they really go into it too much. And, so she's like going to she goes to buy him like a jacket, because they're having like lunch or like a dinner at a little place, and finds goes to buy him a jacket because she sees that his jacket's worn out, and she's like, I don't really believe my mom did this, but, like, quite clearly she respected this person. And while she comes back, she catches him rooting around in her purse. And then she's like, okay, what the fuck? We do find, obviously, he's not the real dad. And he does eventually, like, have her dad go to that dude that pretended to be her dad and say, what the fuck, dude? And he breaks down and kind of just tells him everything that actually happened. Like, no, we weren't together. This is why I tried to steal the dojo, blah, 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 blah. But, like, I don't like the way the dad treated her, because, like, she's been your kid for years, and even if she wasn't your kid, to just automatically believe that, oh, she's just probably just acting up when she's never done that before, and oh, she must just be lying, there's no way the stepmom, stepdaughter are treating her this way, she's just acting up, she's ungrateful, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So there's that. The way he handled it, I really didn't like that. That irritated me. And then there was the mom and sister, why they're so bitchy to her in the first place. Like, why? Like, she's never been mean to them. Like, ever. She's always done what they told her to. She's quite clearly a nice person. And, I just felt like they were kind of mean to her for no fucking reason. At the end of the show, we do get them all together, and they're starting to be nice to each other. Like, they're actually trying to be a family now. So I was like, oh, God. Like, the assholes. Oh, there's growth. There's growth. Tugs at the heartstrings. Yeah, but yeah, like a lot of sad things happen. It's a very dramatic show, but there's some funny moments, but aside from that, and just how stubborn the grandpa was kind of irritated me, because I was just like, I understand why he wouldn't just want anyone to marry into the family, because, like, obviously it's probably from, like, what happened with our main girl, where, like, people were trying to, like, marry into to family like, for money or for like fame or just like I can understand why you'd be like very particular about like how people have access to you, because obviously you have very tempting things: money, power, fame. And also, like, you kind of just met this girl, but so I totally understand, but I do think he's a little bit more of an asshole to her, and he takes a little too long to finally make things right, but he does. He does to an extent. He does try to make things right. So, and another thing that irritated me the most was that we finally get this moment where the girl that, like, human, Hije, I think is how you pronounce it. I think that's the best pronunciation I've done about all of these names so far. Hije is the girl that likes a human, the playboy, who's the first knight we meet. And, she, kind of is like, okay, I'm done chasing after you. And then she kind of turns to Jisoo and she's like, so will you accept me? And I'm kind of like, one, like, you literally are still pining for someone and literally just said you're done with this person in front of them, and that's totally fine. You want to move on to another person, that's fine. But, like, quickly, this person's loved her for a long time, and even if she didn't know that, which, like, she is insinuating, hey, will you take me? And then, like, this is her friend. Like, quickly, at the very least, they're very good friends. So, we don't know if she knew that he liked her or not. Probably. But, like, why the fuck would you do that? To literally just be like, oh, well, this person won't want me, so will you then? Like, obviously, yeah, she's in a tough spot, and she's, like, depressed and all that, but, like, it irritates me that, like, bitch, he's liked you for years, and he's, like, your best fucking friend that's been there for you through everything. Since, like, you met him. Like, he was literally super nice to you when you met her. Like, it was the first time he got there and he kind of met her and she was crying and he's like, hey, you know, here's this tool shed. You want to go cry there for a bit? Go ahead. Like, he'd been nice to her from the start. And then, for her to just kind of do that was like a, bitch, I don't care how sad you are. That's a low blow. So that's, like, one of the things that really irritated me was that. Because just, oh, that makes me so mad. Because, like, that's so fucked up to do to your friend who's liked you. All this, like, that is so fucking rude. Like, it's one thing to, like, kind of lean on someone. It's another thing to use them as a fucking crutch. Like, it's just, like, you understand what I'm saying? Anyway. So there's little things like that that really annoy me. But it just, I really liked it. And I kind of, like, really liked how they did the super cheesy, adorable ending where everything kind of ties together. And they kind of showed little things, like little close-ups along the way. And then it was like, oh, we're connecting all the dots now. That thing that, like, I thought they were just doing for, like, for whatever fucking reason. I didn't realize it actually had a purpose. And then you see all these little things, like, oh, you were zooming in on that and that. Those are actually connected somehow. And then they use that to wrap up the ending, which I really liked. I thought that was kind of cool. It had me sobbing. I was like, oh, son of a bitch, you did with the cuteness and the fuck. Anyway. That's my weird breakdown of stuff. Anyway, so, yeah, Cinderella Four Nights, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I ever want to watch it again, just because the amount of times it made me cry. But, like, I like this show, but I don't know if I like it enough to want to go through all that heartbreak again, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's on Netflix, about an hour, or 45 minutes to an hour, each episode, 16 episodes. I don't know what other languages they have for the subtitles, but, like, obviously it's probably Korean, and then they have, like, English subtitles is what I did. So I would go check it out if that's your thing. Just beware of moments that make you cry and that are kind of sappy and that kind of stuff. And oh yes, it does take 15 fucking episodes for Human to finally address what the fuck his thing is with Hije, the girl that likes him. So that's kind of like another thing. I was just like, oh fuck, you could have done this like so long ago, dude. But it takes forever. My eyes red. Like, they always have bags underneath. Obviously, I look like a fucking raccoon. But like, I cried. a lot. And yeah, I don't know what else I'm gonna do review wise. I think I really will consider doing those webtoon reviews that I'm reading. Well, not so much reviews because I don't think I fit. I don't think I finished any. So we kind of like, hey, this is what I'm reading. It's kind of cool so far. You want to check it out? Kind of thing, more than like a review where it's just like I finished it and kind of give my thoughts on it. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. As you can see, my dog's passed out over there. So stay safe and all that.